Hey guys, welcome to today's October themed review, as I will be looking at the extremely low budget and generic straight to video feeling The Resident. It stars amongst others Lee Pace, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Nothing's simple.
Okay. Then what do you want?
Horror icon Christopher Lee in what must have been one of his last roles.
That's no problem.
And two-time Oscar winner Hilary Swank wondering where the fuck her career went. Speaking of Lee, this is of all things a Hammer production, because remember that comeback around about this time? Swank plays Juliet, a surgeon. See what they did there? Double meaning in the title, because she's a resident in her profession as well, wink wink, who's looking to move on from a bad breakup after a boyfriend, played by Lee Pace, cheated on her, so she moved out and is now looking for a new apartment. Anna Vista of Deep Space Nine fame has a cameo in this as a letting agent who shows her around in one of the more intentionally funny moments of the movie. I think they should have leaned a little bit more into Swank's natural comic timing personally. My guess is Vista took one look at the script and says, no, fuck it, I'm just doing this small cameo role. I actually have a career. Juliet takes a chance on the low rent apartment which is being developed by the seemingly charming and innocent Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who there's a bit of a spark with from the start. He plays Max. Christopher Lee plays August, who also lives in the building. Seemingly the more creepy of the two, as he's portrayed as a lonely old man. But if you think he's more of a threat than a character played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, you clearly haven't seen enough of these films.
Max!
Hey! I'm just putting myself in your shoes. Alone. A new apartment, surrounded by strangers.
The first half of the movie, with some of the stuff between Juliet and Max, it just sort of plays out as a very light sort of rom-com type thing, like these two pretty people smiling a lot, having like awkward type chemistry. They have no chemistry in this, by the way. What's hilarious about that is I'm pretty sure Hilary Swank and Jeffrey Dean Morgan did star opposite one another as the leads in a romantic comedy. Now I know it's not that kind of movie, but for a while it did sort of feel like that. Juliet's work colleague and close friend is one of the most cliched and annoying characters in the movie, constantly giving her shitty life and relationship advice, but she does stumble upon the best line of the movie, and I quote, "Hot landlord rebound sex." By the way, the hospital looks really grimy and grubby, like something out of a Saw movie, so those scenes kind of have the feel of a more low budget and less glossy Grey's Anatomy, a more miserable version of that show.
A guy gives you a gorgeous apartment, and that's creepy?
The lights in that cheap ass hospital looking set was so bright and gross that I swear I was going to get seizures at some point. Now, I don't always like to rag on movies from certain eras and say, okay, that's such a cliche of that era. This is just four of them, from the Dutch angles, which is constant from the beginning, lots of flashing around the city and the bridge and the bright lights. I think just as a way to hide the fact that it is so low budget and cheap, and that it's almost like I mean, if it wasn't for the upmarket cast, I would say it's like a C-grade movie. Some of the cheap fake outs are so cliched and on the nose, so stuff like, oh, she's in the bath late at night with a glass of wine. She goes under the water. She thinks she hears a suspicious sound. She drops the wine glass. She goes to the window. She thinks she can hear something outside, but it appears as though she doesn't. Or the lights in the apartment is so dark. Is there something outside? Is there something in the wall? And at one point, and I shit you not, folks, it actually cuts to a full moon outside, even though werewolves have nothing to do with this film. So it was already a very stupid, dumb, generic film with very little to enjoy about it. It surprised me that they revealed what was going on so early on. So that was actually a choice. It is very predictable. You can map this movie out in many ways, and even some of the stuff I didn't see coming was like just terrible and bad to watch. So I'll talk about the twist, and then I'll talk about what happens after the twist, because the film just goes from bad to worse. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is the villain. He is the one who's been watching her and stalking her. And it is funny because it's revealed like only half an hour into the movie. I thought they would wait longer before revealing that. They give you all these flashbacks and they act as though, oh, so you've already seen this part of the movie from her point of view, but this is now him stalking her, him following her around. Because there's a scene with her and the friend at like this sort of do thing at an art gallery, and he randomly shows up there, but we see that was by design. In the room pretty much constantly, so he's watching her through the walls. He's built like a special room where he can hide out and watch her. He's because the scene in the bath, it's him looking through like a certain hole. There's some times where he's under the fucking bed, like just there. But what makes this stuff really dumb is this idea that she just wouldn't at some point catch him or notice him. Because there's times where it's like, oh, he's so obsessed with her, so he's touching her face. He's like breathing on her. I think he might even give her like a kiss when she's asleep at some point. So the idea is that he's become totally obsessed, but he's taken it to this whole nother level. And it just becomes so silly, so laughably bad, like him acting like he's really unstable and is so obsessed with this woman and is just reacting to anything. So anytime she has contact with the ex-boyfriend, the idea with the Christopher Lee character, who only really has a small role, is that he's actually protecting her or trying to protect her because he knows what his grandson is. Dramatic dialogue between them about his mother was a saint, but she gave birth to this like monster. Later on, he kills the Christopher Lee character because he gives him like some drugs. It's my life now. But you just think, well, if he's this unstable, why didn't he do this before? Many questions about how she didn't realise sooner, how he didn't give away sooner than he was unstable, because if he's this unstable, I don't buy he would have been able to hide it from her. How did she not realise he was in the room? Like, is she just this massive deep sleeper who, if you're having your face touched during the night, you can't... Because she kept waking up at times anyway, because she felt, oh my god, someone's in the room or someone's watching me. So she can't have been that deep a sleeper. She realises she's had drugs in her system for a while. So the idea is that he's slowly been giving her all these different injections. But for most of the film, she seems fine. Like, she seems to be walking about, functioning fine. And you just would have thought if she'd had all the drugs in her system, she probably wouldn't have done. Dean Morgan is probably the best thing in the movie because he really plays into the bit. Like, he seems to understand the schlocky, silly, ridiculous movie he's in. There's a whole thing where the ex-boyfriend come over, and he brings her flowers, so he's really doing it. The idea is that they're meant to have dinner and discuss things. That's fine, but, you know, I don't think you're at the flower giving stage, given your prior sort of history. But he comes over, does the whole romance thing. They start discussing things. He brings back her dog, who I swear you don't see again in another scene. She calls the dog German Shepherd. Like, she just keeps calling it German Shepherd. Surely you know the name of your own dog, Hilary Swank. So you get, like, the dog sniffing around a bit. First they're arguing a little bit. And then they sort of cozy up to each other. And bearing in mind, Max is watching through the walls at this point. So he sees the whole thing. So how convenient. They suddenly go from having a little bit of a fight to they have sex. They literally have sex. Like they get back together and he's right there watching. I mean, just how contrived. How did they get to that point? I guess it's just because the plot needed Jeffrey D. Morgan to see it. Up to her, and just like when she's asleep, he's under the bed by her side, licking the finger. I mean, okay, it's meant to be gross, but it's actually really cheesy and stupid. So yeah, there's just so many like plot holes and questions about this whole film and the storyline and the way it plays out, and unfortunately it just gets dumber and dumber as it goes on, and it is just so generic and so dull. Another thing is it's so hard to believe then he fell for this woman that quick. Like, he became that obsessed. Like everything in this movie, it just happened so fast. You can't really take any of it seriously. Another question I had is, isn't a surgeon quite a well-paid job? And they're treating it like, oh, she's slumming for apartments, she's really struggling. I mean, sure, it's probably like head of practice. I know it's not going to be as well paid as that, but I would think she does pretty well. Yeah, it's a pile of shit. And it's not even a very like fun to watch or stylish pile of shit. So 2 out of 10. I could go either lower. It may be one of the most tedious films I've ever seen. I'll go 2 out of 10 because at least you've got a solid cast and there's one or two okay moments, but it is pretty dire. So that's my thoughts on The Resident. Let me know what you think if you've seen the movie. Happy October once again. Keep watching horror movies. I'll be back with more soon. Goodbye.